Today, we're talking about something powerful, something uncomfortable but absolutely necessary for real growth: accountability. This is the practice of taking ownership of your actions, your choices, and your energy. Accountability is often avoided because it forces us to face ourselves. But when we embrace it, it becomes one of the most healing, liberating things we can do. So let's dive in. Accountability is the foundation of growth. Without it, we stay in cycles of blame, denial, and victimhood. But with it, we step into our power. When I say accountability, I don't mean self-blame or beating yourself up. I mean radical honesty. The willingness to say, this is what I did. This is the role I played, and this is how I will move forward differently. It's important because accountability puts the steering wheel of life back in your hands. Without it, you're always waiting for others to change. But with it, you realize that you can shift your reality by shifting yourself. Accountability it's healing because it breaks illusions. It dissolves the stories that we tell ourselves about why things are the way they are. When we own our truth, we no longer need to hide behind excuses or blame. It also strengthens self-trust. Every time you take responsibility, you're telling yourself, I can face my truth and I can grow from it. That creates freedom. And that kind of freedom comes deep healing because you're no longer trapped by denial or shame. The truth is, accountability is love in action. It's choosing honesty over ego. It's choosing to see yourself clearly rather than distort the picture to protect your pride. Most people resist accountability because it feels like an attack. But in reality, accountability isn't about punishment. It's about growth. It's not about guilt. It's about empowerment. The truth behind accountability is that it's not meant to break you down. It's meant to build you up. Here's the hard part. Most people struggle with accountability because it forces us to face the parts of ourselves that we don't want to see. It asks us to release the comfort of blaming others, and that requires vulnerability. And vulnerability feels risky. It's easier to say that it wasn't my fault than to say, how did I contribute? But that's what keeps us stuck. Accountability feels hard because it asks us to let go of the stories that protect our ego. But those same stories are also the chains that hold us back. Accountability also requires us to challenge our perception. The way you see a situation isn't the full truth. It's filtered through your experiences, your beliefs, and your wounds. When you're open-minded, you realize your perspective is just one angle. Accountability asks, what if there's another truth here? What if I'm not seeing the whole picture? The openness softens the ego and creates space for growth. With an open mind, accountability stops being threatening and starts being empowering. It becomes less about shame and more about clarity. So here's the truth. Accountability is not the enemy. It's the gateway. It's the key that unlocks healing, growth, and self-trust. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it takes humility. But without accountability, there's no transformation. So the next time you feel defensive or you want to point the finger outward, just pause. Ask yourself, what role did I play here? What can I take responsibility for? And how can I move forward differently? We can't control how others choose to act or live, but we can choose how we show up in life. We also can choose to not deal with people who aren't willing to do the work, because accountability isn't just about meeting yourself where you've been. It's about choosing who you're becoming, and that choice is where real power lives. So before we close out today, I just want to leave you with a few questions to sit with. So if you can, close your eyes. I want you to take 3 slow, deep breaths in through your nose and release slowly out your mouth. And just sit and hear the questions I'm asking. Don't force answers, just let them rise up naturally. Where in my life am I avoiding accountability? And how is that avoidance keeping me stuck? When I feel defensive, what part of me is my ego trying to protect, and what truth might I be resisting? How would my relationships, health, or goals shift if I consistently practiced accountability with myself and others? Finally, what story or perception do I hold on to that may not be full truth? And am I willing to see it from another angle? What's one area of my life right now where I can take radical accountability, not from shame, but from love for my next step forward? So take a final deep breath and release. And remember, accountability isn't punishment, it's empowerment. It's not about blame, it's about freedom. When you own your truth, you reclaim your power. And that, my friends, is the real path to healing.